Good morning, it's Abby, and wanting to make a video, and I have so many topics to talk about, so it's really hard to know how to narrow them all down, and I am not going to. Okay, so okay, I know what I want to talk about. I don't know why, but I'm just having a hard time talking about it. Sometimes I get really sort of inward about certain experiences that I've had, and when I try to battle and talk about them, I get I'm I don't know why I need to talk about this or whatever. That's just me and my humanness, and we all have these moments in our lives where we just feel really uncomfortable about talking about something, and I know maybe you don't, but I do have some things that I feel uncomfortable talking about. Okay, so I'm talking to this, I'm talking to the spirit world right now, and then sort of getting some help talking about the topic. So the topic, I want to talk about what depression is, because I've suffered from depression for many years, and it's very, very hard. It is literally an illness. It is literally a sickness, and it is challenging because it is a spiritually driven experience, and everything is, and we don't see the spiritual aspect about what we are going through. And in a depressed state, you don't see the spirits that are revolving around you and helping you to experience this to its fullest. They are helping your soul comprehend the experience to its fullest potential. And that, as a human being, is I don't want this. I don't want to be depressed. I want to be happy, but I can't be happy because my life experiences aren't helping me to be happy. And usually people who are depressed are depressed because consistently, so much consistency, a pattern of difficulty that just doesn't go away, and it's on for years, and you don't have any sunlight to penetrate to help you renew or refresh or just feel like a sensation of what is normal. And so in that state, you just sort of shrivel up, you put a grape out, and eventually it turns into a raisin. It's just a natural process. Human beings will turn into raisins too when they dry up and they sort of decay, because there is no fresh rejuvenation, no sunlight, no healing that is taking place. And love is literally the greatest, most powerful energy that combats literally every issue that we have. Can you imagine if there are you see a battle, and you see on the field there are a horde of people here, and imagine if they had just said, I don't want to get stabbed. I don't want to hurt another human being. I actually, in my heart, don't want to see this painful event take place. I actually would like to see love come in and create friends of us all. Love can do that. Love creates friends, and love creates joy and connectedness of us all. Instead, when you're on the battlefield, what is the driving force? It is hatred. Hatred is what helps us kill each other. Hatred helps us kill each other. Hatred does. And so depression is, you see what I'm just giving you an example of the difference between love and the difference between hatred. And you can see across the globe the influences that keep us from nurturing and loving each other and helping each other. And the ego is very much fueled by hatred. The ego feels more powerful through the forces of destruction. And the forces of destruction are very short-lived, Forces of love are very long-lived. So an example of love is creation itself, the earth. How long has the earth been around for? And the earth can be destroyed literally like that by some cataclysmic event taking place, and that is the hatred and destruction. You see how short-lived hatred and destruction is? It's very short-lived. It is very powerful and very short-lived. Creation is something that takes place over so much long time, and it is beaming with change and love and newness and refreshness, and love is everlasting. Destruction and hatred is very short-lived. It is not a useful tool in the sense that it, in its negative state, it is not a useful tool. I mean, you can look at flame, you can look at fire and ask yourself, what does it resemble? To me, fire can resemble like high frequency sexual love. Fire could also resemble hatred too, you know, so it has sort of a positive state of being and it has a negative state of being, and you can choose to perceive things in its negative or in its positive. And even hatred itself, believe it or not, has a positive and it has a negative. Hatred in its negative force is when we just allow it to override everything and create distance, or it creates just the torment and the misery and the chaos and all of that. But hatred in its positive state is literally, what is a storm? You know, a storm is actually a good thing. We need storms. We need tornadoes. We need black holes. We need all these things that are kind of scary, and they do create destruction, but they're healing components in the universe. The Hurricane Katrina, that was a very horrible catastrophe, but the earth actually has to recycle. It has to cleanse itself somehow. Unfortunately, human beings get into part of the cleansing process, and then that's when it is a suffering event. But it is a cleansing process. Forest fires are actually the earth cleansing itself. And unfortunately, you know, there are experiences that are very sad involved in that. But that is not the negative side of hatred. That is like the powerful and beautiful blessing side of hatred. That it is also a powerful, extremely powerful, very short-lived, powerful force. And you can conjure the energy to create more power in what you're trying to do, but you can use it as the cleansing and healing side of the power itself. So when I'm saying this is, we can actually use the energy and the momentum of what would be like destructive forces, but use it in the creative side, and use it for the cleansing and the healing side, so that way you can fuel the fire with more energy for healing. Like, you literally can do this. So I'm just drinking some coffee. And I gave up drinking coffee for like a month or so. And I drank coffee yesterday, and I liked it so much that I'm drinking coffee now today. But I gave coffee up because I was telling myself that I need to rest and relax, and I'm pushing myself too hard. And coffee is sort of like a symbol to me of trying to inspire energy in ways where I need to just allow my body to just be have its natural energy, and not try to over fuel myself. And so now I'm at it again, you know. But I don't know. There's a comforting, sort of relaxing sensation that coffee gives me, and makes you feel peaceful inside. And so I just drink it. I'm drinking it again, but I'm talking about depression here, and so depression also is really intertwined with what is hatred, because it is so because you get frustrated, you get very frustrated about life, and it makes you feel spiteful and hateful, and it makes you just feel like, how come some people have it's so easy, and I am literally like, it is like literally like the shit dump is pouring on my head, and I can't get out of it, and I can't clean myself, and I can't do anything about it, and I just feel like I'm just so angry, and then part of depression is very internalizing, very much so. Okay, Spirit World is telling me, okay, so if you don't know, if you haven't watched all my videos, you wouldn't know much about my relationship with depression, and I don't know if I mentioned it in the beginning, but So at age 12, I started going into a downward spiral, and it lasted a very, very long time. And now I'm 32, and for the most part, I did finally, through basically the alien, I talked to alien beings, I talked to spirit realm, and it was literally an alien friend that inspired me to get medicine, because I was suffering from depression so badly after like 18 or 19 years of it, that I would go into extremely long states, like periods of like months, where I could not tolerate any visitors, any spirit visitors, any kindness, any acts of love, any loving, healing energy. It made me angry, and I would get an opposing reaction to it. Then I would start getting so much angrier inside, because it's part of the disease, it's part of the illness, it's part of the influence of what is darker entities that literally are helping you to push away the light so that you can fully immerse yourself in the darkness, and then they feed off of your misery. They literally are parasites. They feed off of you, your energy, which is very not pleasant at all. It's a disgusting energy, and then it's extremely delicious to them, and they want to do whatever it takes to feed themselves with more of this, and they love influencing. They love it. They want you to stay in the state of misery, so that you can literally feed them. They're like bloodsuckers or whatever. What are those things called? You know what I mean. They live in the water. They stick to your skin, and then they suck your blood. They are like that too. They literally are, and they look like Dementors out of Harry Potter. I've seen. There are other ones that literally do look like parasites, and I'm quite convinced that one was slightly alien. I did not perceive that as being a spirit. I perceived that thing as being an alien, and it did literally have just what was a round hole for a mouth, and it didn't have very large eyes, and it was like a worm creature, and I was trying to have a conversation with Avery, the human alien, and in my life, his image kept getting erased from my third eye, and I kept seeing this disgusting like worm creature, and I was like, how dare you think you're more important than Avery? And so I was like using my burning hatred to push him away, and he was just sort of laughing and growing humongous off of it, and I was like, oh yeah, you want to fight? You want you want a piece of this? And so then I was like even more pushing more anger and hatred into him, and then telling him to go away, and then trying to concentrate on Avery again. But he was just feeding off of, he lives off of hatred. He feeds off of the energy that is hatred, and in its negative state is depression. It is all of those things. You cannot fight hatred with hatred. Hatred will always win. Hatred always will, and that's why you look at the planet Earth and you see all this history of hatred, and that is why hatred still exists here, because you can't battle hatred with hatred. And that is when I discovered that, oh my God, I'm actually feeding disgusting beings in the universe with my negative energy, and they are so much more powerful than my ability to even concentrate on beings that actually care and love me. And then even worse is that I'm sending him even more energy to feed him. The energy that he's consuming is the negative energy. And so it was very hard. I'm telling you this story, but I know I don't mean to be all over the place, but I'm going to finish telling you this story, and then I'll tell you more about depression. But then I realized that, oh my gosh, I actually have to choose to love. I actually have to choose love as a means to disconnect me from this being, and that was sort of a challenge. It was a very challenging experience, because in a depressed state it's very hard to choose love. It is like the tiniest little voice that can't come out, and no matter, even when I focus on it and I try very hard to ask for help, I literally can't. And so in that state, in a very small way, I just very meekly try and get the words help out, and then I just know that is enough. And then I do start to feel an alteration in my energy field. It's very hard when you're depressed. You have to find a way to get just the word help out, or just try to envision angels surrounding you. Try to do anything you can in that just terrible state, recognize that you are going too far with it, and then try and say help. Just try and say help, and try and visualize what are angels, because angels to us are symbols of love, and that symbol of love will help you, and it understands. Like, you don't have to come up with like some beautiful language to ask for help. You just uniquely say help, and then visualize angels, just one angel, whatever you can do to visualize some essence of help, and it will come and it will help you. And so in this state, I was like, okay, well, the power of my burning, seething hatred is not helping me get away from this creature. And so I had to choose love, and so instead I stood before it, and I said I love you to it. And the more I said I love you, and the more love energy I shared with it, the more the smaller it grew, and the further away it wanted to get from me. And then in that experience too, I forgot about this part. I didn't realize this part. I still don't quite understand it, but the more I said I love you to that creature, and I disconnected it from my atmosphere or energy field, or where it had to have been some sort of alien entity, because the way it communicated with me was very similar to the way Avery communicates with me, or Ipagus, or any of the other alien beings, and my third eye. And so I pushed it, away from me, and then that is when in my third eye I realized that I literally was so deep inside of the earth, literally like a flower growing backward inside of the earth, and I was inside of the earth with a lot of other freaky souls that were tormented by depression, and we were all sort of like mangled and suffering in the earth in this state of that I was in. Literally like pushed me out. Like, this sounds gross, but you pop a Z and it just pushes straight out. It sounds gross, but literally the earth was like, get the hell out of me. You don't belong inside me. Get out of me. Like, I was an infection of inside of the earth, but it was in such a loving and so kind way. And the earth was like, thank you for choosing love. You don't belong inside me, and pushing me straight up and out like a flower that had grown backward. And then I was above the surface of the earth, and sort of like breathing fresh air for the first time in what was like a very, very long time. Because at that point, I was the struggle of depression was very. I've been living with it for so many years. It has stages. You go through mental stages, especially when you're a teenager with it, and then you develop you get into your 20s, and then you get into your late 20s, and you go through mental changes. You can tell yourself as a 30-year-old you do not have the same mentality as a 15-year-old. You just don't. And so depression, it alters its reflection as you get older too. And so by the time that I was sort of in this place, so I'm just talking to you about my experience with depression, which was very, very bad. And I was very good at keeping it to myself, because it is inappropriate. It is not acceptable for you to behave in a depressed state. People need you to be happy, and people don't want, to hear about what you think is your misery. That is sort of my mind frame, that you are a disgusting human being if you dare to even show that you are unhappy. I know that sounds really psychotic, but that is literally the way my mind translates the world, and that's just me. I don't mean to behave that way. It's very, almost militant. It's almost, and that is what creates as part of my learning. It is part of my learning to endure this. It's part of my learning to be the speaker, so now I can help other people with the same problem. As a spiritual speaker even, I can help you see something different about the different side of depression. And here I am, I'm like super loving human being, but it is so much easier for me to love the outside world, very hard for me to be self-loving, and so that's something I've been working on for probably a couple years, because I've been learning so much about depression and learning to find ways to separate myself from that sort of weakness that I have with it. And it's part of, I mean, I'm 32, so we're talking 20 years, so only 10 years of my life I wasn't depressed, and I'm 32. Like that, I've been depressed. I've known depression for longer than I've known anything else. You know, that's pretty messed up. It's pretty messed up. But I want to tell you, so when I was 24, and my depression was severe, it was very, very severe, and I was in my final year of college. See, I've gone through quite a few tragedies, and I had to take time off of school, even, so that I could heal through being an alcoholic. And that does somehow help when you're in your early 20s and you just are sort of like, I hate the world, and then you just drink, and that is sort of like your solution to everything. And then it's just sort of but anyway, when I was 24, you know, the suffering was so bad, that the emotional suffering was so bad, that I wanted to cut myself physically as a means so that the physical pain would override the emotional pain. But I didn't want to mutilate my body. And so, so I've always had a sensitivity to energy. I've always had a sensitivity to the spirit world. I've always talked to the spirit world, and sort of hated the spirit world. Blamed them for why my life was so miserable. That they, you know, why can't you give me? You know, people get random moments in time where something good happens. How come I can't just get something good to happen? How come? I tried. I joined, you know, clubs. I joined, you know, meetup type of events to meet others. I explored religions. I explored different churches. I was on message boards. I tried to find whatever means I could to sort of help me find something positive to change this. I literally did, you know, despite my drinking behavior. And then, you know, I was going to school, and I took school very seriously, and you know, all of these things, and nothing came for me, nothing rescued me, nothing was there for me, only me was there for me. And so me, in my miserable mental state, you know, started using what was mental knives, images of knives, like literally cutting me. And at first it was very short-lived, and it was a relief. It was like literally to cut myself in my mind was like, I can breathe again, and it was a relief. It was like letting out all the negative energy. And then it became an obsession, and because it was my cure, and it would help me. And so then I never let go of that, and I just started to go into like phases where I could go like a month or 2 months at a time, where I couldn't get out of the torture chamber, and I would be in there for a very long time. And in any type of love or assistance that would come from me, I would take the knives and I would bury them even deeper and hurt myself even more, and in my mind, and then just sort of succumb to the experience of hatred, and then tell them how much I, you know, share hatred with them as a means to push them away from me. And it's an illness, it's a sickness. You can't sort of override the sensation or the obsession or the need to continue to hurt yourself. I know this sounds very maybe demented or psychotic or whatever you want to call it, and I'm aware of this. I'm like totally understanding, I'm totally aware of this, totally get that. But I didn't have any means, I didn't have any nourishment, I didn't have anything to help me to defend myself against this. And so I did, you know, Avery was the one who basically forced me to take medicine, and I hit a point in time where I could not actually do it without medicine, because my mental state and the energy that I was so engulfed in, it was so terrible in the energy that was hitting the planet, and all the awakening and all that sort of thing was preventing me from literally, I was starting to have panic attacks, because I could feel the world changing. I literally would be walking, through the skywalk or something in my depressed state, and all of a sudden the reality wasn't there. The reality that I was human was not there, and now I was in some sort of mental. There was some messed up sort of game system that I was experiencing, and I was more spirit than human, but I was still attached to my human body, and in the depressed very low state, I was freaking out. I literally would start freaking out, and I was like, okay, Avery, I'm freaking out, because I talk to him all the time. He has helped me through so much. I was like, I'm freaking out. I have to find somewhere to go. I can't let anybody see me freaking out. And I'd find somewhere, some hidden nook or some stairwell or something. So I would just start having a breathing panic attack. Literally, I couldn't. I would just start shaking, and I couldn't tolerate it. And I had no choice, because I can't behave this way in public. And so I had to start taking medicine, and literally that did. And it was a very slow process for me to, it was a type of medicine that wouldn't, it doesn't make you feel instantly happy. It takes a long time for it to sort of get into your system, and then after 3 or 4 months, you start noticing that your behaviors are different. So it was agonizing trying to wait for this medicine to sort of build up in my system, and it did. I actually did get to a point where it was impossible for me to try to hurt myself anymore in my mind, and I was sort of rejoicing, because I am so against. I want to heal myself naturally. I don't want to take medicine. I don't want anything to do with pharmacy. I don't like it. And so anyway, I did find that medicine did help me, and without it, I would still be, I wouldn't have been able to do it without it. I would be having panic attacks all the time, and I would be very ill and not well, and I wouldn't be able to hold a job, and all of that. And so I did. I stayed on medicine for about 1.5 years, and then I suddenly just stopped taking it. I didn't really realize I had stopped taking it until I looked at how many days had passed, and I hadn't taken it, and it literally was almost 2 weeks. Because I kept thinking, I forgot my medicine again today. Dang it. Well, I'll just take it when I get home. And then I get home, and I just get involved with the kids or whatever, and I just forget to take it again. And then the next day, I'd be like, well, crap, I didn't take it at all yesterday. Well, I need to take it before I leave for work today. And then I would forget it again. And finally, I was like, well, I'm obviously forgetting it because it is time for me to let go. And so I just stopped taking the medicine cold turkey, which you're not supposed to do. But I just did. And so since then, I've actually been stable and able to tolerate life without medicine, and life just sort of finding, because of my spiritual connection, because I got so far out of the depths that I'm now, and I stabilized because of the medicine, helped me stabilize and helped me know what stable felt like for a long period of time that I had not known. And so I stopped taking it, and I've been fine. I've actually been perfectly fine up until December, when something really bad happened, and then I was actually tolerating it very well, and but I just slowly started to fall apart and decay, and then I couldn't tolerate it anymore. I mean, it was so bad. My depression was so strong and so horrible and so bad that it was enough that I thought every video I made on YouTube was disgusting. I need to delete everything. I need to remove my website. How dare I think I have something meaningful to say? See, that is depression. That is the power of depression. And it makes you feel like that voice is the voice of love, and you will sort of succumb to it. And anyway, I sort of had a magical event take place that sort of rescued me, and so I've been feeling better and stronger and back to normal again. So that's a relief. See, we need each other to help each other, and there's nothing wrong with there's nothing wrong with you for having a mental challenge that literally is not, and that there's nothing wrong with you for anything that you've ever, your decision making as a human being. We've all done things that maybe aren't appropriate, or you're okay. I'm okay. I'm still a beautiful flower in the universe. Even though I've endured this nightmare, I'm still okay. Even though I have gone there mentally and been quite, I didn't ever call myself insane, because I was so good at blending in and still fitting in and still being appropriate in public, and people not knowing, having a clue that I was secretly just mutilating myself in my mind all day long for days and days and days. And then that I consider myself extremely good at making it my outer appearance. I was like a robot. You have to be like a robot to behave that way, to let people see you be happy when you're tormented on the inside. And that is like the behavior of a robot. I had no emotion, and I was literally like a dead person. I was not a living person. Only love makes you feel alive. Without love, you are like a zombie. You really are like a zombie without love. And so many of us are like zombies, and that's why we don't, that is why the world is what it is right now, because waking up is literally opening your heart to love, and then choosing to share that love with others without judgment, and with being loving and kind and open-minded and not judging at all. We're even talking, going to other countries and with different belief systems, different cultures, and having no judgment at all towards their behavior. Not even judging a terrorist, like actually just sharing love with them. Like they are the freaky monster that was feeding off of my hatred and growing larger. That they feed off of being a terrorist. They feed off of that. And so when we choose to ignore or just share love, or that confuses the whole system. Hatred doesn't understand love. It just doesn't really. How come you love me? I'm a terrorist. What is that? I was watching The Grinch, like 2 weekends ago or something like that, and it's an amazing movie, because in the movie the Grinch is the terrorist, and he creates so much disruption in this village, and they still choose to love, and love even harder. And he teaches them, the Grinch, the terrorist, the nightmare, teaches them how to love each other more, and even love the Grinch more. And because he helped them awaken to love in new ways. The Grinch did. And that love was so meaningful that it took the terrorist, the Grinch, it changed him, and it made his heart beat. It brought life to his body. There are human beings out there that need us to love so bad, and that is the medicine that causes their hearts to beat again. When we choose not to judge, and we choose just to allow acceptance to take place, then just unconditional love to be shared, now suddenly we are making all of our hearts beat. Now suddenly we are seeing each other and loving each other more. It is the only medicine that cures everything. Plants need love. Human beings need love too. Human beings are like plants as well. And so I just need to share this message. It's me trying to help you comprehend my experience, comprehend me as an individual. You can choose to think less of me because of what I've been through. I mean, I have, I drank very heavily. I mean, that is not acceptable in society. I still graduated college, and I studied abroad. I mean, I've done amazing things despite the challenges that I endured in here and in my heart even. It has made me much stronger, much more intelligent, much more observant, and much more loving, and much more able to be compassionate, open-minded, and non-judgmental towards others. And so, let me just see. Okay, so I didn't, there's still more to this message. Okay, there's quite a lot more to this message, in fact, and I'm okay sharing more, so hopefully you're okay listening to more, but I'm gonna drink some more coffee right now. It's just a lovely, lovely thing to drink in the morning, and it's just helping me. It's like so relaxing and so peaceful, and feels good to share this message, despite I don't know how it will be received. So when you're depressed, I talked a little bit about, so there's a spiritual aspect. So the spirit world is going to help me share more about this too. So they're saying that in a depressed state, you are both physical and spiritual. You always are both physical and spiritual. And they're showing me what is literally like a brain that gets congested with like what looks like marshmallows. And they say that the marshmallows what is the word? They make it so that love can't come in, and they block our brain from actually knowing how to translate love. And the marshmallows are given to us by energies, and the energies themselves create waves, and the waves of energy actually create the blockages in the brain. They know, they're so intelligent and so smart, they know exactly where to put the marshmallows. I know that sounds really silly, but that is how they are helping me comprehend it. So when you're in a depressed state, your brain is covered in what it looks like marshmallows, and prevents you from allowing love in. They said that when I speak about just trying to find the word help and then angel, they said even that is so covered, that ability inside the brain is so covered in marshmallows that it is almost impossible to say those words or even visualize anything that is related to love, because that is the blockage that makes it so we can't. It's literally like you take a DNA strand and you take out its comprehension or ability to receive love, and that's what they're doing. They're blocking you from actually being a natural expression that can tolerate love. And they said that depression is a very scary sort of, I'm trying to find the right human language to describe what they're saying. It is a concerning energy or experience, and it is one that not many souls, it is so dangerous, because depression inspires us because we can't breathe. We can't literally breathe in any energies of love. So it inspires us to want to die. Because that is all we feel. We feel like we are dead people when we're depressed. And so the feeling of being a dead person actually makes us want to kill ourselves. And that is how depression creates the need to kill yourself. And they're saying that people who, the souls that explore depression are so profound and so strong and beautiful, and they give a special gift to the universe, to all souls who are not ready to or cannot, are not of a vibration that is in a way that they can enter into those experiences. So those souls can actually learn through our souls more about depression. And they're saying that I have given like a monumental gift to the universe by being a soul that chooses to endure depression for as many years as I have. Not just to endure it for a couple years, but to literally endure it for over half of my lifetime. So literally like 20 years of my life, I've been suffering all of these different stages of depression and self-destruction, and I have not killed myself. And they tell me, so inside of me was a star of sun, and it was a dream that I had that prevented the marshmallows from inspiring me to end my life. And it was strong enough that I was able to endure that many years in that state of mind. And they said, it's like really hard, spit it out, but they told me that the ball of sun was love, and it was love for many lifetimes. That has traveled with me over many lifetimes, and it was not something that was part of my humanness. It was not, and it was part of my soul. And marshmallows cannot take away the sunlight that is in the soul. They cannot. And my soul memories of love were strong enough that they overrided the decay that was taking place of the marshmallows, literally. And they say that those with depression have to find the sunlight inside their souls, the memories of other lifetimes that were full of love, and to use those memories as the hope or the the strength that to know that love does exist and that it is reaching its hand out to you every turn. You actually choose to endure the challenges that create depression, and that you are a strong soul. A soul that chooses to explore the pathway of depression is a very strong soul, and you need to be very proud of yourself, is what they're saying. There are let me just see what else. I'm getting exhausted. It's like when I share these messages from the spirit realm, I don't know why, but it like takes up a lot of my energy, and so now all of my momentum is just like I just don't have any. And they're showing me what is green light that is being handed to me, and then they're showing me what is a blanket that is green, and that we give healing of green energy, and you wrap yourself in a blanket of green, and the green is like magical, and it has sort of like a property to it, like plants are green, you know, their leaves are green, grass is green, everything is green for a reason, that the earth grows, it grows green. And when it is in its freshest, most nurtured state, it is like a very beautiful green color when it is healthy. And so human beings, like plants, need to embrace what is green and wrap themselves in the green blanket. They said marshmallows. They show me what green blanket does. So if you can somehow find a way to ask for green or see the color green in your mind with the intention, you don't even have to try to create the words. Just green, and we need to give each other green too, is what they're saying. Not just ask the depressed person to try to come up with green. That isn't what is helping. We actually have to choose to share green with everybody, random people walking along the sidewalk, because we don't know what they're dealing with or what they're going through. You just need to visualize everybody on the planet literally in a blanket of green, and that the green energy works on us just like you see healthy grass. Somehow that green creates the same green vibrancy of a healthy human being, which is very reflective of what is the natural earth, even though we aren't green. They're saying that green is extremely important, and it has this property of literally, it is the opposing magnet. So the marshmallows can't attach to green, and they are just like ping pong balls, like flying out of the brain. They just feel very that green itself is what creates them to fly away from you, and then it is what heals the mind, and it heals everything. Heals the heart, heals the skin, heals this perception, heals everything. Green heals everything. And by choosing to share green with each other, choosing to heal each other, we also receive green ourselves, because that is the reflection. What we give is what we receive. So the more you give green to others, the more you actually receive green yourself. And that even is, they're saying that depressed people are literally as in suffering as somebody who has been in a treacherous car accident and in the hospital and that severe physical pain. They're saying a depressed person is literally that ill that somebody in severe physical pain has to go to a hospital. The depressed person does not go to a hospital, and they try to handle their depression alone. And that is what that is such a severe state of suffering, and nobody there. That is part of the illness, is that you choose to be alone and suffer alone. And that is part of the illness. Gosh, I am like severely exhausted. Okay. They're asking me to do one more thing, and it is so exhausting, I don't know if I can do it. Okay. I'm just gonna, I'm just, give me a minute here to catch my breath and like re-energize for a minute. Okay, let me see if I can do it. Okay, so they're having me choose to see green. They're saying I don't have to. I created this video. It's an emerald, as a video I made several years ago. So long ago, I can't quite remember the name of it, but it's like the Emerald Mist in part 1, because I never got to make a part 2 to it. I never had time, I never had the energy, I never had the ability to finish it, and I actually was requested to finish it, and I still haven't been able to, because it requires a certain element of effort, and I have not been given sort of the ability to complete the video. But that is a video that will blanket you in green, and it will heal you. So you need to watch this video and allow the green images to actually be absorbed and to inspire healing in you. And they said the video is extremely powerful and very, very healing, and that I need to include a link to it here in my video itself, so I will do that. So that is all. That is literally the end of my video now, and so I hope you found it helpful, and I hope that it expands your perception on what other human beings are dealing with, and then why too we need to choose love, because hatred is not what ends the war. Hatred is what helps the war end itself through death. Hatred is just like just like anything else, that hatred is, the terrible Hurricane Katrina, it did also end people's lives, but it was also a cleansing tool for the earth, that the earth like severely needed to cleanse itself in that way. And people talk, I'm not going to go there. I was just going to talk about climate, and I can make another video about that. But so love is the only thing that changes. Love that stands before hatred can still heal hatred and remove it, and love that stands before love makes love only that much brighter. So we have to remember love every time. Love every time. That's it. I'm drawing you a heart. There. So I give you love too. Okay, so that is the end of my video, and I hope you found it helpful, and I will share a link to my Emerald Healing Mist video so you can watch it too. And thank you for watching my video, and bye for now.